Okay, I've got the carburetors inside the house now, make it a little easier for me to work on. And just trying to get a good orientation of how things was. This is the PTO side, this is the magneto side over here. And interestingly, I didn't do that, but someone else who had previously worked on this sheared off the bolt there. I wondered why I only needed to get 3 of these out of here to have everything come off. So that'll be an interesting challenge to try to fix that. I'm going to be replacing these gray lines here and taking everything apart, cleaning it all up. Okay, so far so good. Remove the gray lines. As you can see, this is the reason I want to replace these gray lines. It's just got this nasty corrosion on there. I don't want that stuff clogging up the carburetors. This linkage here just popped off real easy, snaps on real easy. So I'm not going to mess with that because that helps to synchronize the carburetors. And right now I've got each carburetor independent now, separated. So I think I'm just going to work on one at a time, and that way I can keep all the parts together and not misplacing anything. Alright, going to go ahead and start cleaning things out. This is the magneto side carburetor, and my pulse line, and the diaphragm, as I looked at earlier, seems in pretty good condition. No obvious tears or anything. Not the most sanitary thing, but since I don't have a pressure gauge, I can just do a little mouth suction on there to see if things are holding up, and it's great. Looks good. I am not going to mess with it. Okay, this could use just a little bit of cleaning. Gonna spray some carb cleaner around here. I'm gonna take the rubber gasket out first. The carb cleaner is pretty tough on the rubber gaskets, so we're gonna remove that and clean things out as well. On this end, this is actually here the fuel filter, or one of them. This is the in carburetor fuel filter, and yeah, it's got just a little bit of sediment there. Not bad. Get that cleaned up and put things back together. Okay, so I got my pieces here laid out and cleaned out. Going to work on the other side of the carburetor now. Again, everything looks in pretty good shape, so I'm just going to spray things out, clean things out here. These pieces are very small, and you got to be careful not to lose things. You got little springs in here, little screws. So I'm going to dismantle, take all of these screws out, take my main inlet apart, spray everything out, and then reassemble. It's been running great, and I just want to make sure it keeps running that way, because in a different SeaDoo I had this problem in my my PTO side piston. It was running great until it just stopped after some high acceleration, and when I got it back home and started taking things apart, don't know if you can see this real well, this spark plug, but it is really fried and burned up. That was not good news, And when I pulled the heads off the engine, looking down, yeah, this piston is fried. This is caused from, it's called detonation, which is caused by a lean, very lean condition with your fuel. Too much air, too much oxygen. And when I pulled the carburetors apart on that machine, this was totally just all gunked up. So it's pretty obvious what happened. I've since cleaned it up, I've since put new pistons in, and the thing runs great now. So like I said, just wanted to make sure that wasn't going to happen on this machine. And so far so good, but I am going to replace all of the gray lines because I think that really contributes to this problem happening. Okay, removing this little tiny screw here, and then this piece comes out. Be very careful not to lose anything. This it's hard to get it in focus here, but anyway, it looks in pretty good shape. There's a little tiny spring right here, do not lose that. And got a few more pieces I can take apart. Whoops. And then I'll clean all this out as well. Got a couple of little screws here. I'll try to set those aside without losing them. And this piece will come out. Got a little gasket in there. Got some jets I can clean out. I'm not going to dismantle anything any further, but just going to clean out what I've got here and then reassemble. And then do the same to the other carburetor. Okay, working on the magneto carburetor. Excuse me, PTO carburetor. And again, got a little fuel filter here, a little tiny one. And certainly could be worse, but yeah, it's got a little bit of stuff I can get out of there. And on the PTO side of things, everything's a little bit different, but we've got our little fuel pump accelerator over here, and other than that, most of the pieces are going to be the same. Again, I'm going to take all of these pieces out here, clean this all up, and I'll probably take this little pump apart as well and clean that up. Disassembling this little pump here. Okay, this screw held this plate in. This spring here was in between these two parts, so just got to remember when putting everything back together that this spring here gonna go slide in there. Don't lose the spring. And I want to make sure I remember how everything goes back together. So just getting good angles here. Make sure that I put everything back together the right way. After I take out these 4 screws here, then I'll be able to get to the inside of the pump. Alright, got the 4 little screws off, and this comes off, and now you can see the little plunger here. So I don't think I'm gonna mess around with this anymore. I think it's looking pretty good. I don't want to press my luck and tear up gaskets that I don't need to replace if they're still working good. So all looks pretty good there. My reassembly is going pretty well. It sure helped to refer back to previous videos before I had everything dismantled to make sure I had all my hose lines hooked up the way they used to be. This linkage here, it just snapped back on into place very easily. No problems there. I've got some new fuel lines that I've put up here. Got rid of the gray ones. I still need to put clamps on these, make sure they don't go anywhere. And these little smaller lines, they had zip ties, so I cut those off. I guess I'll just put new zip ties on there. But yeah, so far it looks pretty good to me. After the zip ties and clamps, it's going back on the engine. Yeah, just a further note, I decided not to mess with this bolt that somebody else had sheared off. I tried with a vice grip to pull, to twist it on the other side. I didn't get anywhere. I'm sure I could drill it out and redo it, but since it's on the intake side of the carburetors, I'm not too concerned about it causing any problems. I can tighten it down so that it's still going to get all the filtration through this lovely thing, which I need to clean up still. And if it was on the other side, clamping it down, I'd be a little more concerned, because then you can get a lean mixture situation and resulting in detonation, and of course another one of these possibilities. So yeah, again, not too worried about that. So next step, some clamps and putting it back on the engine. Back outside and working to get things reattached now onto the engine. Okay, got my carburetors laid out, just laying on top of the exhaust system there, and my throttle cable was really easy to hook back up. That was no problem, but the choke is definitely giving me some pause. A couple of issues here is I've got these springs to deal with, and of course I need to have the proper choke position. So I started with the magneto side first. First thing I did was I attached the choke cable into its holder position here. Got my choke in the full open position, because that's where it's going to be most of the time. And then I carefully positioned this to fit on there properly, and took a little finagling to get the spring loaded around it, and I can't do it with one hand while filming at the same time. Important thing is it needs to be in the open position here, so that when you activate the choke lever and pull on the choke, it'll close down. Of course, the spring needs to be situated on this little lever back here, right there, so that it'll help spring it back into the proper open position. So, like I said, got the first one hooked up. Going to be doing the second one now. Should be a lot easier now that I know what I'm doing. And then I'll be ready to mount it back onto the engine. Okay, gonna try to talk through this part, at least initially here. First step, what I've found to be useful, is get your choke in the fully upright position. Then the spring here, and it's hard for me to see in the sunlight, But you got two ends of the spring. This end of the spring needs to go onto the back side of that screw there. For now, you can leave this part here. Eventually, it's going to have to hook around onto this flange here. But first step, just getting this back into the right position, then well, always more than one way to skin a cat. Bottom line is I got it done. The spring, got it, hopefully you can see that, hooked onto the back side of that flange there. And all is good, just need to put the lock washer nut back on there, and that should be in good shape. Okay, the oil injector accelerator cable, I got that hooked on the back end, the PTO side of things. So now it looks like I'm ready to mount onto the engine. Okay, I'm working from the left side of the jet ski now, trying to get the carburetors back into place. A nice little handy tip here is the this mirror comes in handy for being able to see around things that you cannot see from anywhere else. So just going to tighten some things down there. Discovered that little metal piece on this Allen bolt, I believe, is just to help hold the fuel lines in place, just keep them out of the way from the throttle cable, and just keep things a little bit more secure. So anyway, gonna keep tightening things down and be able to finish up here shortly.